This is Omar for BoxNation. To be fair, it's 1:30 p.m. bang on, Gareth. Like literally bang on, we're starting this. And you said as soon as you get home from Heathrow, you'll be on the Zoom at 1:30, and you stuck to your word.
Well, the lucky thing for me is that I actually came back from Dubai with Emirates to Stansted, and it's only 20 minutes for me. So
Oh,
you're praising me too much, but you were my first port of call because we've seen each other about 25 times in the last week, and we've not been able to speak because I've been on duty for Talk Sport and the Telegraph. So it's great to catch up with you.
right. As we're back in London, just give me your reflections regarding the breakdown of what we saw in the rematch between Usyk and Fury.
Well, first of all, it was a brilliant fight. It was so technical this time, and they both lived up to the billing without it kind of really boiling over. They almost nullified each other, but both had ascendant periods. I scored the first round a draw, right? I could not separate them in the first round. And then I gave 6 rounds to Usyk and 5 rounds to Fury. So I had it 115, 114 for Usyk. I think there were 3 rounds that were definitely Usyk rounds. There were 3 rounds for me that were definitely Fury rounds. But there are 6 swing rounds in that bout that could have gone either way, which is why we've got the scoring of 8-4 from the three judges, and they only agree on 7 of the rounds. Yeah, and they're split on 5 in different ways. So it was a really hard fight to score because it was so close and so technical. Tyson did his thing. I'd like to have seen him, I want to say be more aggressive, but what Usyk did very cleverly, or getting into the fight, what he did very cleverly was wriggle out of Fury and leaning on him. He just did that very, very well. And he threw flurries of punches that caught the judge's eyes, I believe. So if I'd scored the first round marginally to Fury, which when I look back I may, that means I've got a draw. It was a very, very close fight. I didn't see it 3 rounds to Tyson. I couldn't make a case for that, I don't think. I will watch it back. I haven't yet. I thought both men were brilliant on the night. Um, Neither was really hurt. I thought we were going to have both of them down during it in my anticipation of it. I think the disappointment for Tyson Fury and for Frank Warren was enormous afterwards, but people saw it different ways. I've spoken to people since I've got back. They saw it for Tyson. I've spoken to people who saw it clearly for Usyk, people ringside in certain areas, and I was on the broadcast row with Talk Sports. I think most people along there saw it for Usyk. It almost merits them fighting each other again. And it wouldn't surprise me if we did see them fight each other again.
What was noticeable in this rematch was the body work actually from Usyk this time around. The first fight,
More of it.
Tyson's body work was brilliant, but it was the other way round in this fight.
Well, Usyk gave as good as he got from Tyson this time. Neither of them was hurt.
No.
So they were both brilliantly conditioned, and Tyson carried 20 stone really well for the entire bouts. He never really fatigued, but Usyk just outworked him well. He was more eye catching. Fury had a couple of eye catching rounds, 4 and 5, I think. I'm going to have a look at my scores.
Five
So
especially. I think it was a big left uppercut that hit
it
Usyk.
was in the fifth, yeah, yeah. But neither of them seemed hurt during the contest, remarkably. And then Fury was caught in the ninth again, was it, or the eighth?
Mm.
Um, I'm just going to get my card up here.
Did that surprise you, Gareth? Because a lot of the questions going into the fight were how much was taken out of Usyk and Fury in the first fight. Looking at the rematch, it looks like nothing was taken out of them.
No, it was incredible. They almost feels like they've got more left to give. Um, where I differed with some of the judges was I drawn first round Fury 2 and 3, Usyk 4, Fury 5, Usyk 6, 7 and 8, Fury 9 and 10, and then Usyk 11 and 12. There's my. I don't know if you
You
can't
can't
see
really pick it up.
it. No, it's not possible. 115, 114 Usyk. Um, I think when you get people like Lennox Lewis saying afterwards he'd like to have seen Fury be a bit more aggressive, I think he was being aggressive, but Usyk was very fleet of foot again, much lighter, smaller man, shorter man, and he was very adept in there. I think the eye-catching work, the more complete work, was from Usyk. That's how I saw it. I thought didn't I wasn't concerned that he was the winner. 116, 112, I get those swing rounds. Two swing rounds have gone towards Usyk. Um, I think when the dust settles, it's difficult because it's the scorecards suggest that it was a lopsided victory for Usyk, which it definitely wasn't. I mean, if it had been a split decision, we might well have seen it again, but because of the cards, we may not. But let's see what Tyson Fury wants to do. And Oleksandr Usyk afterwards clearly has huge respect for him, as Fury does for Usyk. Um, Fury didn't say much about Usyk. He was more um, annoyed for himself, rather than, which is what the champion and the loser often do. So, but it was a great occasion. It was so absorbing. I was involved in commentary for Talk Sports on the night and lots of interviews. And it was a great occasion and an amazing atmosphere.
He was a bit annoyed at the AI judge as well.
Well, what was the AI judge? 118, 112.
Yeah, had it really wide to Usyk.
But the AI judge, right, 9 rounds to 3, the AI judge is going on punches landed, punches thrown, percentages, all the little details that a robot picks up, not a human being. But human beings found it hard to score it on the night as well. Thought the referee was very good. Um, he was almost invisible. Um, it's a pity for Tyson because I think the result elevates Oleksandr Usyk into a pantheon of greats. I've placed him round about 7 in my all-time 7 out of the 10 all-time list that I put together. I don't know if you want to know it.
Yeah, go on. Sure.
Let me just. I've gone for Lennox Lewis at 1. Um, Lennox Lewis at 1. Then I'll just find this.
Can I guess it? See how if I'm right.
Yeah, go on. Start guessing. Yeah,
Okay, you've gone for Lennox at 1. You've gone for George Foreman at 2. No, who'd you go for 2?
Muhammad Ali at 2.
Okay. Larry Holmes at 3.
I've gone for Joe Lewis at 3.
Okay. Larry Holmes in that list, top 5.
Yeah, yeah. I've got Foreman at 4
Yeah.
because he came back and won the world title 20 years later, which is just staggering.
Mike Tyson,
Now I've got Larry Holmes at 5. Yeah,
who's at 6? Mike.
Tyson,
Yeah.
Mike Tyson. I think a prime Mike Tyson would have beaten Usyk. There's your tip for who's 7.
There you go. Gonna try and get 8, 9, and 10 as well. Is Rocky Marciano in it?
Yeah, he's 9.
Is Joe Frazier in it?
No.
Oh, okay. Um,
So you've got 7 Usyk.
is Vladimir Klitschko in it?
No, Vitaly Klitschko I've picked.
Oh, you think Vitali was better than Vladimir? Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I think you would have beaten him.
Right. Okay.
I've mentioned him in my words on, and I've done top 10 for the Telegraph. I mentioned Vladimir in the Vitaly as 10, but I said I've gone for Vitali rather than Vladimir because I think he was better.
I'm
And
missing one.
one
I'm
was,
missing
yeah, who's 8?
Holyfield.
Yeah, Holyfield at 8. And
Okay.
I've just eased Usyk above Holyfield. I think he might have out techniqued him.
Okay.
Not a bad list, is it?
No, that's a great list to be in. Across the 24 rounds, though, I know in the first fight, especially, there were some big rounds for both men, but really across the 24 rounds, it was nip and tuck, wasn't it, Gareth? Would you assess it like that?
Well, no, 13 to 24, this was the really close fight. This is the one that should have edged towards Tyson. I'm not saying that as a Tyson fanboy. What I'm saying is it should have edged towards Tyson for history. And then we get the blockbuster third fight in the middle of next year. I think that's what most people would have liked.
It's definitely
Uh,
what HE wanted.
It's what Turkey Al Sheikh wanted. It's probably what the promoters wanted. It's not what Oleksandr Usyk wanted or Krasiuk wanted because he's now got the pick of the cherries. He's got the pick of the bunch. He can fight Opetaya at heavyweight. He can fight the winner of Daniel Dubois, Joseph Parker. He could fight Moses Tauma if Turkey Al Sheikh gets his way. I mean, I'm just going to throw that out. I've just written a column on Moses Tauma that he will be the takeover by the end of next year, in my view. Um, I think he really will be up there because they can make it possible for him to fight for a world title by the end of next year. It's whether, and I've been saying it all week, arguing with Spencer Oliver, partially arguing with Frank Warren. I mean, obviously, it's not my place to pinion him into a world title fight, but by what I see of him, and I know we haven't seen him under pressure and in trouble at all, he looks like he's got potential greatness in him. I say potential greatness. You look at the early start he's had, 15, 16, sparring with very big men. He seems to have mental man strength. Maybe he's going to get stronger and bigger and all those kind of things. But he just might be the perfect man in the perfect time in the perfect place for that perfect storm for Turkey to create the next generation. And that's why Turkey's pressaging on his well, that'll get comments, pressaging or pressurizing to get him to break Mike Tyson's record, which is by May. Now, to do that, you've got to you've got to throw Moses Tauma at Oleksandr Usyk, haven't you? There's no other way around it.
We'll come on to Moses in a second, Gareth.
Okay, but I think he came out with a lot of spotlight on him after Saturday night. He
Definitely.
put the whole heavyweight division. They know about him already, but he put the whole heavyweight division on alert on Saturday night.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rapier left hand.
What did you think about Daniel Dubois storming Alexander Usyk's post-fight interview in the ring?
Well, it was a little bit crass, if I'm honest. Frank's not good. Frank Warren won't mind because it's his fighter, and as he told us this week, he's got 12 of the top 16 in the world, which is a very, very enviable position to be in for any promoter. It's not his style. He's not very subtle in the way he did it. It was in the middle of Oleksandr Usyk's post-fight interview, and I think arguably Adi Oladipo shouldn't have let him in that moment because he was still interviewing Usyk, who
I mean,
hadn't.
I think Ade did try, but Daniel literally just took the mic.
Yeah, but you never give the mic. You don't give the mic.
All right, you try to tell Daniel Dubois to.
I told Daniel Dubois on Saturday night, he didn't want to do an interview. I told him he was doing one with me because he walked away not wanting to do. I said, "What are you doing? Let's do an interview. We're live on Talk Sport. Do an interview. Give me a minute." And he was fine. And just because he's knocked out Anthony Joshua doesn't mean he's the king of the world. Yeah.
Do you think he's overlooking Joseph Parker?
No, he's overlooking Oleksandr Usyk, who beat him the last time, stopped him.
Okay, but what about Joseph Parker? He's got to deal with him on February 22nd.
Yeah, but that whole movement was overlooking a fight with Joseph Parker. Look, he may not end up fighting Joseph Parker. You know how things can change.
What?
Oleksandr Usyk turned around and said to Your Excellency, if you want him to fight me next, I'll fight him. And we'll get an undisputed title fight. He said it there and then in the ring. Usyk did.
Yeah, but that fight's locked in for Feb 22nd. There's
It doesn't
nothing.
matter if it's locked in or not. If they agree to an undisputed title fight, they can have one. An undisputed trumps a mandatory or whatever it is. Is it a
No, it's a
mandatory?
voluntary. It's a
Yeah,
the
it trumps it.
fight's
It trumps it.
signed.
Yeah, but that's fine. But what all I'm saying is, Umar, I don't think it'll necessarily happen. But if Turkey Al Sheikh wants, and the powers that be there wants Dubois to go back in with Usyk for the second fight, they'll do it. And maybe what Frank and Francis mentioned, they certainly talked about it or asked about it. They might have not brought it up. Maybe we'll get Joseph Parker against Moses Tauma on February the 22nd.
Do you think
I'm
that
being crazy here, but I'm just looking at the ramifications of what might happen because of what's been said.
Do you think the winner of Dubois Parker ends up fighting Alexander Usyk, or do you think Usyk
Yeah,
walks away?
logically, I do next summer. Yeah,
What, so you think Usyk will carry on fighting?
yeah, I do. Because when I sat down with Alex Krasuk last week, as you will have, and he was saying that Alexander Usyk has the ambition to go back down to cruiserweight, but frankly, to lose nearly 2 stone, 226. And I sat at the Ring Magazine launch dinner with Jaya Pataya, and he'd take that fight at heavyweight as well. So that's a great fight. Two very, very good southpaws, and Jai with a lot of power. Someone's going to beat Alexander Usyk at some point. Some young gun's going to catch up with him if he goes on too long. Because he was brilliant on Saturday night, but there are signs of aging there as well. There are in Tyson and Alexander. That would have taken a lot out of them on Saturday night.
Where does Tyson Fury go next, in your opinion?
A fight with Anthony Joshua. I think he may. You never know with Tyson. He may be so dissatisfied with the judges' scores in that second fight. He might want to try and fight Alexander Usyk a third time. You never know with him. Um, he was tremendous, and I do think he was going out there to try and put it on Usyk. But Usyk was very smart, and it was a much better performance, as I said earlier, from Tyson Fury. Um, yeah, of course, I want to see him fight Anthony Joshua, but it doesn't feel like the right moment for it. There's a feel about fights, isn't there? It doesn't feel like the right time to announce a fight between Fury and Joshua or to start thinking about it. Something else needs to build before they go in against each other, in my view, if they do. Tyson can have a well-earned rest as well and spend some time with his family, you know.
What did you think about Usyk calling Frank a crazy guy?
Well, he was a little bit crazy. I'm just going to turn that because it's flashing. Well, he was a little bit crazy with. Um, well, I think what surprised Frank, as did all of us, because we had it a lot closer, people I was sitting with, was that 116, 112 across the board and in different rounds. So it just, all that does is displays how close the rounds were and what the judges were seeing. And when you look, I need to watch it back, as I say, because you judge it in the moment, don't you? You don't have replays, you don't have punch stats, you don't have all those things available. And if you do, and you're an AI robot, you have it much wider for Usyk, as we saw 9 rounds to 3.
You obviously sung Moses Salma's praises just a few minutes ago, and rightly so. It was astonishing the way he put Dempsey McKean away. Speaking to Francis Warren, his manager, straight after, he named some names, Gareth, that he'd like to see Moses in with next year. I just want to get your thoughts on them. So the three names mentioned were Filip Hrgović, Kubrat Pulev, and Charles Martin.
Well, on paper, um, they're all really good opponents for him right now. They're all the building opponents. Filip Hrgović is the toughest. We know that Dempsey McKean went 12 rounds and was knocked out in the 12th, wasn't he? TKO'd
Yeah.
in the 12th round against Filip. Um,
Does Moses do the same thing to Filip Hrgović, in your opinion?
well, I don't know. We don't know. No, I don't. I don't think so. I don't know. I think he's going to get tested. I like the name. I like the name he's going up against. But if he knocks him out in a couple of rounds, it shows you where he is compared to Daniel Dubois, doesn't it? But it also there's this whole debate. I mean, I think he's a freak. I think he's a freak, and I think, as I say, the more I see him, and I hope it works out for him. The more I see him, the more I feel like he'll be fighting for a world title by the end of next year. We've known him 2 years. I call him the takeover. I call Rico the takeover now. He's great to be around. He's got a lot of mental edge to him. He seems to take everything in his stride. Nothing's too much fuss. We haven't seen him in duress in a fight yet, and I think that's important. We haven't seen him really clobbered and having to recover from it, like we did Hamza Sheeraz against Amo Williams. That moment when you know that they can fight out of a trench when they're stuck down under heavy artillery, they can come out from the trench and it works for them. But all three of those, I think Charles Martin and who's the other one you mentioned?
Kubrat Pulev.
Yeah, Kubrat Pulev there. He eviscerates both of those guys.
This might sound a bit wild to say this, and this brings me also on to Fisher and Allen, but because obviously the three guys I mentioned have, fought at world level for a while, especially Pulev. But Dave Allen, do you think he could give Moses Alma some
No,
rounds at least?
no,
No?
no, because he'd hurt him and beat him up. Moses is ranked independently at number 10 in the UK as a heavyweight in Great Britain and number 40 in the world. You know
But
that,
do you
yeah?
not think Dave could withstand some punishment? No? He's got
No,
an incredible chin, Dave Allen.
he has. I thought he beat Johnny Fisher, by the way. 6 rounds to 4, he beat him. Well, we certainly had a 10-8 round in the fifth, and I thought he dominated the rest of the 10 rounds. I think Johnny, much as we all love Johnny, of course, I thought Johnny was very, very fortunate to get the decision. Very fortunate. I thought it was disgraceful refereeing, not refereeing, disgraceful judging, really. I don't think he won much of the last 5 or 6 rounds in that fight. But he showed so much heart and spirit that there was something to admire him for. And we know he's got that as well. And he really showed it. No, I think Dave Allen I don't think we'll learn much from Dave Allen against Moses Tam. I think Moses is too big, too strong, too fast, too sleek, too powerful, and too on it. He doesn't mess around.
Let me
We've
give you
seen
an,
that.
let me give you a name then, because I'm trying to think of people who can give him rounds. Jarrell Miller.
Yeah, Jarrell Miller might give him rounds, but he's going to be a bit. It's like I think Rico most of the time will be punching a big sofa for 6, 7 rounds, and it'll get him out of there. But I like the Philip Hergovich.
Okay.
But I think I've got the feeling. What is he? He's 12-0, 12-0 in 9 knockouts, 11-0 in nine
11
knockouts,
and 0. Yeah.
11-0 in 9 knockouts. He'll fight 5 or 6 more times by the end of next year, and I think he'll be in a world title fight. I really do. I mean, he's got to get. The problem for him is getting a 10 rounder in, or getting a. It's a good problem to have. It's a really good problem. Did I tell you? I don't think he'll break the Mike Tyson record, but I think he'll probably break the Ali record. Yeah,
Yeah.
Ali was well. Floyd Patterson was the second quickest, 21 years and 10 months, and Muhammad Ali 22 years and 8 days. I think he'll be a world champion because he's 20 in 5 days' time, isn't he? On the 28th. So I think he'll be a world champion before Muhammad Ali was.
Okay. Last one, Sahai Boychek, Ishmael Davis. Just a quick reaction to that.
Good corner stoppage. Bohachuk looks elite. We know, I mean, he really proved why he gave Virgil Ortiz issues. He's very talented. He's very big as well. But it was another rollicking event in Riyadh, and the rollicking event in Riyadh and the relaunch of the Ring magazine. How's that for? Blah, 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 blah. But it was a great week to be at. I mean, I just got back from 3 weeks in the Middle East. I'm really glad to be home, if I'm honest. And I've just realised it's Christmas, so I better go and buy some Christmas shopping and get the big turkey in and all that kind of stuff.
Well, listen, Gareth, have a good Christmas. Thank you very much for your time, and I'll see you in the new year.
And what would you think? We'll see Moses as a world champion in the new year.
Absolutely. It has to happen.
I've written a column saying it's time for the oldies to leave. We've got a new star now. We've got a new star, and he's on the way. The era of Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua is nearly done, and Oleksandr Usyk. It's what Moses Atama can do against the likes of Daniel Dubois and Joseph Parker, the guys who are slightly younger. The times they are changing, my friend.
Yeah, I think there's a pay-per-view star on our hands for sure. Gareth, as I said, appreciate your time. Have a good Christmas. I'll see you soon.
Love you. Cheers.